everyone, this is Marco and welcome back to my channel. For this week I have something a little bit different. I got a message from my friend Max, also known as Reptimax, and he said, Marco, I've just seen End of Oak Street and you should go and watch it too. So I did. There's plenty of sweets, but I can't find a poster about End of Oak Street anywhere. Look at that. There's nothing there. It's a bit of a shame. And then we wanted to talk about it, and we thought, you know what, why not just record our call and just put it up on the internet to share our thoughts and opinions about the film. So I really hope you enjoy this kind of podcast-like video. This is not a spoiler-free review. We'll be spoiling the heck out of this, so if you've not watched the film, go watch it first, or just click away from this video. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Hello, Max. How you doing?
Hey, Marco. I'm so excited to chat with you about this movie. It's just been on my mind so much, and I've got so much to say, and I'm really excited to get in it with you.
Yeah, it's funny because I wasn't originally going to see it, was I? Because of that whole AI advert thing that really soured it for me. I didn't want to talk about this, but it's the first thing to, but I guess let's get, this out of the way. Before we start, this is going to be a spoiler review or chit chat about it. So if you've not watched it, don't watch this video. Just come back when you've watched it, because we're going to be talking about anything and everything about the film, everything we can remember about it, and things that we won't remember. And when the call will be over, we're gonna be like, oh, I forgot to talk about that. Yeah. I didn't originally want to go and see it, but then I got a message from you, Max, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
And you said, hi, Marco. Great news. The film was actually really good. You need to go and see it. And I was like, oh, Max, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not really feeling it. And you said, no, you got to go and watch it. So talk to Sora about it. And we decided, let's make that as a nice evening out together, eh? Let's not think about supporting all of that stuff and just treat it as a nice day and day out, right? So that's what we did. It's so rare to also get a good dinosaur movie these days. It's just something we have to celebrate. So I'm really glad that you went and saw it. And you said good dinosaur movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and before we start, it is a decent film, isn't it?
It's really surprisingly good. Yeah. It really is. It took me off guard, and I'm really pleasantly surprised and so happy with what they did in this movie. Yeah, so let's talk about our preconceptions of it. What we expected first. What did you expect before going in to see it? Well, what were you afraid of? What were you worried about? What were you hopeful for? After seeing Jurassic World Rebirth, I was very nervous to just see kind of more of what we've had with Rebirth and Dominion, that same vibe. But there was something about this movie that looked a little bit different. It reminded me of an old show that I used to watch a long time ago called Primeval. And I just thought, why not? Why not just give it a try? And wow, it was really, really good, really surprising. And I just can't wait to talk to you about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was worried, to be fair. I was a little worried. I was hesitant because, there is a bit of a thing nowadays with films where dinosaurs aren't taken very seriously in general, right? And
absolutely,
it's very hard nowadays for films to manage to pull off premises that might sound a bit silly at the beginning, right? Because essentially this film is about portals, time portals opening up randomly in a neighborhood, and teleporting a neighborhood back in time where the dinosaurs are, and vice versa. And that is a bit out there for a film nowadays. It would have been totally acceptable for the early 2000s. I mean, you got TV shows, paleo documentaries like Prehistoric Park that essentially had a very similar premise, but back in the day, in the early 2000s, you could just get away with it. Everything was so well written and so well done that it just worked. But with films nowadays, I believe writing is just so weird, and it never works properly, especially in films in general that have a good premise. The writing just always lets it down. So I was very worried about this one because it's a bit out there, and I thought, oh no, with today's day and age of writing, film writing, it's going to be stupid. But I was pleasantly surprised. It was very good. It was very good. The vibe I got from this film, as you said, is very similar to Primeval in that sense, but also it's produced by J.J. Abrams, I believe, who also made a film that I watched when I was younger called Super 8. And I could definitely see the vibe of that film in that. Super 8 is about some kids, a group of kids set in 1979, I believe, stumbling across an alien that just escaped from a military thing. And it sounds like a silly premise, and it's a bit more kid-centric, that film. It's not as serious, but it's still pretty serious, and it's got that whole vibe that End of Oak Street has. And I loved it because I loved that film, and I thought this was a more adult version of that.
Excellent. And you haven't seen Primeval, have you? That show that I was mentioning earlier. Even though I told you that you should watch it before, you went into this movie.
I did see a couple of episodes as a kid when I used to come and visit my grandma in the summer. So I know the premise. I know some characters. Well, after you said, "Oh, you need to watch Primeval again," I've gotten the whole first season. So I'm gonna binge watch those a bit and see how similar it is to
yes. It's so good. It's so good, especially the first and second season of Primeval. Oh man, that was so great. And the figures they made for that show.
Let me get some pictures. There's that raptor toy that you have actually in your collection, which I need. I saw it on Vinted, I think, but they wanted some silly money for it. There it is. This is children's toys, by the way.
Yes.
Look at that. That is a kid's toy.
It is so cool.
It's beautiful. Look at the paintwork.
Amazing.
The sculpt as well. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely fantastic. And there are also some prototypes made for this line that were never released, which are also so cool. There was a Pristy Champus and some other creatures. Oh man, all those figures are just so cool. And I wish we had some toys for this movie.
Oh, me too.
That would have been amazing too.
Me too. I think these toys were made by the same company that made the Doctor Who toys. And there's a shop here, and I shouldn't say where I live. There's a shop where I live, which is someone's selling their collection, Doctor Who toys primarily. And I didn't know of the existence of Doctor Who toys until then. And I saw it was the Ood and the actual figures of the Doctor, of what's his face? What's his name again? David Tennant's Doctor. And I thought, oh my god, these are kids' toys? If these were made nowadays, they'd be sold as super extra premium.
Yes.
Wouldn't they? They've got dry brushing and everything. Stunning. And then Sora found a werewolf toy of the werewolf episode in Doctor Who. And that is gorgeous. It's beautifully sculpted. I'll put a picture in the editing. And they've painted it so well. It's got dry brushing. They painted some small little veins on it as well. The amount of detail and articulation is just inspiring. It really is inspiring, isn't it?
But don't you miss the time when so many movies and shows just had a toy line, like Walking with Dinosaurs, and so many things used to have a toy line and a thing like that, and I'm really missing that these days.
Oh, me too. Back then they could. It was before the recession, before 2008. Companies could just do that. It was part of the marketing. They had a gigantic budget. Well, not even gigantic. They had a budget which worked for the time, and they were able to make stuff like that and actually spend money on it and make all their money back and more. You could get video games in cereal boxes, not demos or anything, just full games. I got a copy of Ford Racing 2 on it once, and Crazy Taxi as well. They were full games in cereal boxes. Isn't that mad?
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Do you remember the King Kong toys as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a whole collection of them up here on my... but those are also so special.
So special. You have the Bull V-Rex, don't you?
Yes.
That thing is
that's
stunning,
one of my childhood toys.
Yeah. And that's got a similar vibe to this raptor figure from
it's
Primeval.
Also such good quality, and just like sculpt and everything is so good.
Oh, hey Max.
Yeah?
Wouldn't it have been cool if Prehistoric Park got toys like these, eh?
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Amazing. If only someone would do that one day. Hey, that would be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Marco, there's something I realized. There's something I realized only much later on, but there's actually some quite major product placement in this movie.
Oh yeah. I noticed
Did you notice that?
I noticed that too, yeah. Yeah. They had the cereal box all out there. They had was it Fruit Loops?
I was meaning the dog. The dog's name is Starbuck.
Oh yeah,
like Starbucks.
Yeah, that was a bit silly.
Multiple times they're like, "Where's Starbuck? Where's Starbuck?" And later I thought, "Oh man, that's probably like huge product placement."
Yeah, I thought about that, and I thought, hopefully, maybe there's a bit more of a meaning behind that name. It's a reference to Moby Dick.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why, because I've never read it.
But it also sounds a lot like Starbucks.
Yeah, which is probably not a coincidence. I would like to think it's some sort of reference to Moby Dick.
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah. But I want to say that trailer doesn't really... It's a good trailer, but it doesn't really do it justice, does it? The film's got a different vibe when you watch it than the trailer, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. And so tell me, what were your thoughts, Marco, on this movie?
Right. I
really want to know what you think.
I've got a couple of points I've written down just so I wouldn't forget about them. I was very, very impressed with the writing and the pacing. And the characters. Now, I think, I'm going to be honest here, I think being such a fan of Jurassic, but also having watched the later films, has kind of put my bar a bit low into what to expect with films. So, I was while watching this film, I was constantly comparing it to, Dominion and Rebirth. Which I guess did this film, good, because I was comparing it to some pretty bad stuff, right? And this film is the tone and the vibe, I think, is what Dominion should have been.
Absolutely.
Right, this film is quite dark. It does not shy away from being gruesome. It does not hold back The characters do not suffer from plot armor at all.
Yes.
Yeah, well, there's going to be major spoilers again. Again, fair warning to you guys watching. But a major character in this film actually dies a very, very, very horrible death. And the way everything was shot, the way it felt very primal. It was really bringing out all of the dread. And it made me feel really sick watching that scene. It made me feel sick just because of how good that acting was. You know, everything felt so believable. So it wasn't just the acting, but the way the characters were written. And what I liked about their characters in general is that they were properly fleshed out. They didn't give out too much information, and they didn't give out too little information. And there's a thing that the Jurassic films do often is they do a lot of exposure dialogue where they give you quite a big hint of what kind of character we're looking at, and it's only for us to sort of categorize them and give them a bit of a label, like, oh, this is the kind of character, you know, Wheatley, oh, he's the kind of, you know, kind of nasty poacher and stuff, oh, he's the cool hero, you know. You're given a lot of information straight away so you can exactly understand what kind of character you're looking at. The way you write characters like that does end up with writing them with stereotypes, unfortunately, right?
Yes.
But with this film, I did not get any of that. No stereotypes at all. In fact, the girl kid, I forget her name. She's supposed to be a very nerdy girl. She loves science. She reads Carl Sagan's books, by the way, which is brilliant. Gotta love Carl Sagan stuff.
Yes.
But she doesn't look nerdy. She doesn't behave like a nerdy person either. You can kind of see a bit of her being uncomfortable and wishing for being a bit more popular when the blonde girl comes up and kisses the guy next to her at the film starts with like a dream sort of perfect neighborhood summer event in the neighborhood, doesn't it? And you get a bit of an introduction to the characters like that, and you see how they react to their environment around them, which gives you a bit of a clue of what kind of person they are. But it wasn't stereotyped at all, and I loved that.
Yes.
And their flaws, each character has a flaw. They've got their own flaws, but it was all explained throughout the story, and you could understand why they were flawed. You know, what's his name? Ewan McGregor. Was his name Greg in it or something like that? He's going through some stuff and he's drinking. No, but it didn't show him drinking with no other context. I like in a film they're just showing drinking and you go, oh, all right, he's an alcoholic. But here we get to understand why, and it's not a justification. It's more like an understanding where his character's coming from, and I really appreciated that. Really appreciate how they wrote the characters in. So that's the main. That's one of the main things that I noticed.
I really have never felt so much dread in a dinosaur movie for a very long time. That very uneasy feeling where you do feel like anything could happen. And especially after that scene with the Allosaurus, where it just absolutely
destroys,
takes us by surprise, annihilates that bird. After that, you really feel like, oh my gosh, anything could happen now. And that was so refreshing. That was so nice. That was just incredible to feel that again with the dinosaur movie. I can't tell you the last time I've felt that way with any of the Jurassic movies. I would say probably not since watching the first Jurassic Park or The Lost World have I had that same feeling. And I'm just so thrilled with that. I really am.
Yeah, I think the last one was The Lost World for me, wasn't it? Because you get Eddie Carr's death was quite unexpected. and violent.
Yes.
And that's kind of similar, but not quite.
Yes.
But which is crazy because in that scene in End of Oak Street, you don't actually see it happen. It's the character's reaction that really sets the tone, doesn't it? And the sound and the character's reaction that really, because in the Lost World you get the music and you get to see what happens to Eddie Carr, and it doesn't hit quite right. It's crazy how seeing it, you'd think by seeing it would really affect you, but not seeing it happen and seeing it implied like we saw in End of Oak Street.
Yes.
Really it was shocking that it really everyone. We had some kids sitting in front of us at the cinema, and they were well behaved. They were young teenagers, I believe, and they were like talking and stuff, just being normal but not loud, just being in a good mood. And then when after that happened, they were quiet throughout the whole thing. You could see their faces drop.
Oh, I was just so happy that they did that decision. I know it sounds super messed up to say I'm happy with that, but I just was thinking like, yes, we need this. We need this. Oh, it was. And
the characters might not need it, but they actually did a bit at the end, though. But it's got the ending of the film is quite satisfying as well. We won't reveal anything of it, but it. Well, we're gonna have to reveal it later. Or let's do it later. Let's talk about the ending later on. But it made me appreciate this whole film as a whole. I don't want there to be a sequel. I want this film just to be this film, and that's it. It's satisfying, very satisfying to watch from multiple point of views. So we definitely want to talk about the dinosaurs designs, but I think we'll talk about that a little later. There's a couple of other points I've written down just to get them out of the way, unless you want to say something.
Okay. That's okay. I've also got some points written down here, but we can go to your next one.
Okay. There are a couple of things that I would have done differently in the film, or that just don't quite make sense, and they would have had a bit of a different impact.
Okay.
Right, and one of them, Max, I don't know if you realize this, but how in the world does a librarian know about a prehistoric plant that well? So there's the bit in the film where Anne Hathaway's friend, who's an older lady who publishes books, I believe, she invited. Anne Hathaway's character went to hers to talk about what she was writing. She was writing a book, and then after they talk about that, she says, "I need you to have a look at something in the garden because I can't really make out what's going on with it." So they go in the garden, and there's a prehistoric plant in the middle of her garden, And Anne Hathaway's character goes, "Oh, I have no idea what this is. I can move it out of the way for you," but you could tell it was. She was a bit confused by it, so she goes to the library and she tries to figure out what kind of plant it is. And she goes and looks at plant books or whatever, and she just can't find it at all anywhere. So she goes to the librarian and she goes, "Hey, there's this picture." She took a picture of it with a Polaroid and she shows it to the librarian. And the librarian goes, "Oh, that's an extinct plant that lived 200 and something million years ago." And okay.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you know that? You're a librarian. I don't think librarians actually sit and read every single book, right? So I think that was a bit silly, and they could have easily written that and filmed that a little more different, and actually build upon the suspense, a bit on that. And imagine Anne Hathaway's character is going through the books and she can't find it or whatever. So she goes to the librarian, and the librarian says, "Wait a minute. I think I saw something like that before." and they both look at the books. You can see time going by, them looking through all the books and everything. So it builds up on the suspense, and then they find it in a dinosaur book or whatever when they look at the flora and fauna of the Mesozoic, and you can see the camera panning into the picture or artist impression of the plant, and they both go, what? And they read, and it says this plant is an extinct plant from 200 or something million years ago from the Mesozoic. And they both look at each other and they go, what? What? I think that would have been cooler, instead of the librarian just being omniscient and knowing exactly what it was.
Marco, I've got to talk to you about that plant. I think I might have told you already, but my whole theater was laughing when we saw that plant, because it is so recognizable to South Africans. It's just like a common aloe tree that we have over here. We have millions of those exact plants that just grow on the side of the roads everywhere. In the movie, they're like, oh, what is it? It's so prehistoric and everything. And it's like, no, it's just an aloe tree. They just stuck a different flower on the top of it that's not the right flower that they would have. But the rest of it is just a standard aloe. It's just was so silly. Anyway, but I do agree with what you said earlier. It would have been cool to have that build up. But I must say, the suspense that they did have when this whole town teleports back into the prehistoric times, that slow build up of revealing everything, with the sounds and them noticing a different temperature and the screaming in the distance.
That was a masterclass, wasn't it? It really was.
That was brilliant.
It really was. I noticed those little things. Little details like that really do build the world, don't they? When they comment on the temperature, it's not even just commenting on it, because their first instinct was to go, oh, it's hot, but they're not saying it, and you can tell, even subconsciously, you can tell that something's a little different. And then later on, they say, oh, it's warmer, isn't it? Little things
that was so
it's
good.
Brilliant, isn't it? It's so good. And that goes in again with the whole thing I was saying earlier about pacing. The pacing was perfect. It was perfect. There wasn't too much over explaining at the beginning. And
I've got to say about, sorry to interrupt. I've got to say about the sound effects. There's one particular sound effect that they used here, and the minute I heard it, I thought, oh, I'm sure Marco is going to recognize that. And I think, do you know what I'm talking about?
There's two of them, actually. Yeah. I'm not sure if they're the one, one of them's the one that you mean, but there was two sound effects I recognized. One of them was from that it's a coelurosaurid kind of raptor replacement thing. Whatever dinosaur that is. I'll get a picture of it. I'm not sure what dinosaur that's meant to be. But that sound effect for that was literally just an elk. The elk
yes,
sound
it was.
And then...
But it was creepy.
It was
satisfyingly creepy.
Yeah, they did tweak it just a tiny bit, and it worked for it. I recognized it because I like animals, and this film, let's just get it out of the way, this film is not meant for experts or even people that like dinosaurs that much. This is just for people that want to enjoy a generic thriller. This is not because we do have a bit of a problem with the dinosaur designs and the accuracy and other things.
Yes.
But then the other sound was that Postosuchus looking thing did a tiger roar, didn't it?
Oh, you didn't pick it up?
Oh, I might have done. I might not remember. What was it?
It was the J-Pog Camarasaurus sound.
Oh yeah, of course.
The minute I heard that, I thought, it's just a JPEG sound, and I was so excited to talk to you about it.
Of course. How could I forget that?
It was that ooh sound in the background.
It was. It was quite early on, wasn't it, as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Gosh. But should we get into these designs? Should we really get into them?
Check my notes. Yeah, I think we could get into that. Yeah, let's do that. Right.
Okay.
Dinosaur designs. Right. Quick premise here. We are big dinosaur enthusiasts, if you guys couldn't tell already. So we're able to pick this thing apart. I know that the general audience, average watcher, would not be able to pick up on these things, but we certainly do. And it's a bit frustrating because, again, there aren't that many dinosaur films, and you'd want to see them get stuff right?
Absolutely.
Because the main target audience of these films, as much as Warner Brothers and Universal don't understand, is going to be dinosaur lovers. But yeah, what are the problems that we have with these dinosaur designs, Max?
Well, something I spoke to you about immediately was that these dinosaurs did feel very AI-ish. Although I know they have said that no AI was used in the movie itself, they still have some qualities of that sort of AI slop feeling, especially the Stegosaurus. Have you seen the Stegosaurus clearly from this movie?
I have. Some dinosaur designs were very obviously Jurassic World dinosaurs, but tweaked a tiny bit.
Yeah.
We know that about the Allosaurus because that's pretty obvious, but there's an Ankylosaur in there, and that is a Jurassic World Ankylosaur, but they've added extra spikes and made the spikes taller.
Yeah.
So you can't really see it well here, but it has a tail club and it's got spikes on the tail club, which is very strange. And you know what it feels like, Max? I just thought about it. Jurassic World the game designs like that. See, it feels more like that kind of thing.
Absolutely. But that looks like an AI dinosaur, something that some sort of AI generator would spit out. It's that sort of thing with extra spikes, that extra thing.
Yeah,
and exactly even though
the Stegosaurus that you mentioned looked like a normal Stegosaurus, but with extra plates on the sides.
It's those little things, those little, what do you call them, like quirks or things that just make it look more like an AI thing. And that was really disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
When you think back to old dinosaur media, most of the designs, like from the older Jurassic Park movies and from the documentaries, are so iconic. And these designs, for the most part, don't have something really strong and unique about them that feels as good as those older documentaries and movies. But there are some exceptions, like my favorite creature in the movie, the Titanoboa, that big snake-like creature. Although it also looks like a bit of a combination of two different animals sort of mixed together. It looks like a giant snake, like a very large boa or python mixed with a species of legless lizard, or one of those amphibians, trying to think of the name, that are closely related to axolotls. Especially with the skin texture, it's hard to see if it has scales. Its skin looks more amphibian-like, more sort of slimy and
that's exactly the vibe I got. It looked slimy, didn't it?
Yes. And although it was really cool, though, and I loved the way that it sneakily came into the house, and that was I think is my favorite scene in the movie is how it sneakily comes in and is about to get Anne Hathaway and nearly gets her before the little boy manages to shoot the bow and arrow into that big snake thing.
Yeah. It was there was something about how the dinosaurs and animals might not look great, but the way they behaved felt very realistic.
Yes, that was very good. And the way the Allosaurus sort of creepily crept up on them and didn't roar or do a very sort of Jurassic World thing where they would roar their head off at someone and then go after them. These creatures did act a lot more naturally and would really sort of creep up on their prey like a real predator would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly did. So again, about the dinosaur designs, it feels like they heard on the grapevine that dinosaurs have feathers now, so they just decided to put feathers on everything, which is how we ended up with woolly sauropods.
Yes,
which is incredibly bizarre. It's very strange.
That's very, very strange. Yes, it's as you say. It's like the movie directors were just hearing that, oh, dinosaurs have feathers now, and they just are applying that to everything and not thinking more deeply into which ones are more likely to have feathers and going more in depth about it. It's just like a general slapping feathers on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But those sauropods are very strange, and they had a very, very surprising scene as well.
Yeah, but you know, I appreciated the fact that they tried to make them behave like animals, because you saw that bit that you know what I'm talking about, which was a great little like fun thing between the two main characters, which was nice to see a positive thing going on there. But yeah, you know, if this thing happened in real life, you would see that, and quite often probably. But then you could see dinosaurs eating and pooing all at the same time, and that's very realistic. It just felt like real animals, real organisms that were living and surviving. It didn't feel like film monsters that were just there to ruin your day, you kind of thing. It generally felt like they were just there doing what they do.
Yes, they're quite grounded.
Yeah, and they went, oh, there's potential prey there. I could take a bite out of that, and then you could see them try. You know, it felt very realistic.
I do really, really wish, though, that they would have just stuck with the Morrison formation.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, especially looking at the trailers and things, it looked like most of the creatures were from the late Jurassic. Mm-hmm. And I was really hoping that would be the case. Because with all of these movies, it's just such a good opportunity to be able to teach the greater audience something about these animals. Mm-hmm. And I thought if they were going to stick with the Morrison and all those animals that were found in that formation, this could be such a great way to educate the greater public about these specific animals. And I just thought, oh, there's some good learning potential here. But then all of a sudden there were some Cretaceous and Triassic animals, and the Titanoboa that we were speaking about earlier is actually from the Paleocene, which is after the time of the dinosaurs. So that was a little bit disappointing. But how do you feel about that?
Right. So what I find weird as a designer is that they took models from the Jurassic franchise, which I could understand. I can understand that, working very tight timelines and time frame, whatever. But something that really, really annoyed me is that they took that Allosaurus and twisted its wrists to make them inaccurate. Because they were right in Battle at Big Rock. The palms of the hands were facing each other.
One step forward, one step back.
Yeah, it really is. And you said, yeah, it would be nice to have Morrison dinosaurs, and I agree wholeheartedly. It's not that hard to do, because all the dinosaurs and creatures that were in there could have very easily been from the Morrison formation, right?
Yes,
there was a Spinosaurus in this film. But the part that Spinosaurus plays in this film is just you just should not have been a Spinosaurus. You know, it could have been literally anything else. So the only reason why they put Spinosaurus in there is because it's a famous dinosaur and because of probably the Jurassic franchise.
Yes,
which is a shame. That thing could have easily been either another Allosaurus, or the same Allosaurus maybe, or just something else. There were Tyrannosaurs in the Morrison formation, a bit smaller, I think. You could have had one of those, you know? It could have been literally anything else.
Yes, or Tovosaurus, or Ceratosaurus.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, Ceratosaurus, can you imagine? And they did try and make these dinosaurs colourful as well, didn't they? They added...
Yes.
You can see a picture. They added blues and stuff. You can see it here. They added a nice blue hue and some yellows on the Allosaurus snout.
Yes.
They don't look as bright here in the pictures, but they look brighter on the cinema screen, I think. So they tried the little Coelurosaur raptor looking. I don't know. It was not a raptor, but coelophysid looking thing had a red head. Its head was red.
I think it has been confirmed to be Coelophysis due to the soundtrack of this movie.
Oh, is it?
I think in the soundtrack it's Coelophysis something.
Oh dear.
So I think it is meant to be that.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, there was a Postosuchus looking thing as well. There was a Titanoboa. There was this guy. There was the Allosaurus. There was the Spinosaurus. So the woolly sauropods, and then there was some pterosaurs. Some of them looked like Rhamphorhynchus, and some of them, Max, looked like Tropiognathus, didn't they?
Yes,
and they looked really cool. I thought they looked pretty cool. We get a good scene with them later on towards the end, which, by the way, I thought it was great. It really made the characters feel in danger, and they did not shy away from hurting a child, did they?
Yes, I thought that was also so good.
It was great.
The way that he jumps with a portal and misses it, and I was just like, yes,
he misses. Yes, a child getting hurt on screen. I love it. but it wasn't just he's missed the portal and now he's in danger. He falls from the roof of a house, and you can hear a loud thud and something crunching in his leg, and it wasn't just that. It was their reaction, their acting was just spot on. Because in a Jurassic film, if something like that was to happen, you would just get a loud scream like that. But the way the kid reacted to that was so realistic, because he didn't scream like that. He made like a kind of sound, which sounded, have you ever seen stupid videos on TikTok or Instagram where cyclists fall and they just make those disgusting sounds, gut-wrenching sounds, because they get hurt? And it sounded like that, and it's so realistic. It was great. It was horrible, but it was great.
Yes, well, that felt so realistic too.
Yeah, it did.
Because that's just the sort of thing that would happen, is that you would just miss it and then have to go back up again. That just felt very, very genuine to me.
Yeah. But going back about the dinosaurs, I have two headcanons to justify their designs. You want to hear them?
Okay. Yes, let's hear it.
One of them, which is my least favorite explanation, is that we are dealing with time portals or whatever it is. It's not explained properly in the film. You're just given an idea from the sciencey kid of what it might be. There's no definitive, this is what it is. So, it could be some sort of parallel universe. It could be anything, really, and that means that, okay, maybe it's some sort of other parallel universe still with dinosaurs, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same as our past. It could be something a little different, because she does talk about wormholes through dimensions or whatever, doesn't she? So who knows, that might be a possible explanation. But that's my least favorite. My most favorite explanation is this, Max. Right, so we know that Anne Hathaway's character is a writer, and there's the whole beginning of the film where she goes to the lady that publishes books, and they talk about a story, which, by the way, her story, her book that she's writing, which, by the way, is great to see her character and how she feels about her family and everything. There's a whole sort of symbolism behind that, which was really cool. But in the end of the film, she writes the book End of Oak Street, right? It's her retelling of what happened. So I would like to think that this film is her recounting of what happened, right? So she's not a dinosaur expert. She knows nothing about that stuff. So she only described what she saw. And she also described what the kids saw. And the kids were the ones that saw that ankylosaur with the spiky tail and everything. And, it just going by description, even if you look at police sketches of suspects, they never end up looking like like the real person. So and those are experts. Now imagine someone that isn't an expert trying to explain someone what a certain creature looks like. So everything could be from her perspective, from her her recounting of the story, which is why some dinosaurs look weird and not accurate. So what we're seeing is her book, a sort of rendition of her book, and I like
an adaptation.
Yeah, I like that. It makes me accept the film a bit more and enjoy it a bit more. It's probably coping. It is coping a bit, but I like it. I like it. I like that explanation.
That could work. It could be an interesting angle to think of it like that. Yeah, but sorry, there's one other thing I want to talk about with one of the creatures we see here.
Yeah.
I just have to talk about it because it's a South African animal.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently the crocodile relative that we see in this movie, according to what they say online, is an animal called a Garginia. I think that's how I might not be pronouncing that right.
A Garginia. It's that thing right there.
Yes. So that's a remarkable animal. It's an Erythrosuchid, and they had these very large heads compared to their bodies. So they're very strange animals. But in the movie, they look a little bit more sort of generic.
Okay, so this is a reconstruction.
Yes, look at that. It's so weird, hey? With that enormous head and that little body.
It's so strange.
They're such unique animals, and in the movie they just looked not as good as they could have been, but still good to have some representation there.
It definitely looks like a Postosuchus or something like that, doesn't it?
It does. It's a pity though, because this animal was so unique with that huge head, and or maybe they thought it looked a bit too goofy to be a proper threat with that big head.
Maybe. When did that creature live in? What time period?
In the Triassic.
Right. Oh, Max, it's so annoying.
It throws us another spanner in the works.
Yeah, there's that Tropicnavus I mentioned earlier.
Yes, it's got a long tail, Marco.
Oh, does it? Oh, no. Oh.
It's got a Rhamphorhynchus tail.
It does. You know, it's she doesn't know about dinosaurs. She wrote it wrong.
But Anne Hathaway was so good in this movie.
Oh
hey?
yeah, oh yeah.
She was brilliant.
Everyone was fantastic. Although I did think I heard a bit of Scottish coming out of coming out of Ewan McGregor
Yes.
sometimes. I love that actor. All the actors in this film did a superb job, didn't they?
Yes,
They really did.
absolutely. Although I must say, something I really wish they did was I kind of wanted that young boy to be a dinosaur enthusiast because this whole story is set in the 80s. And back then, our view of dinosaurs was very different to how it is today. They still perceived them as being much more slower, and it was before the time of Jurassic Park. And I really wish that he would have like noticed all these creatures and been like, oh, I think that's an Allosaurus, but it has feathers, or something like that. Maybe some
I know
people
what you mean.
disagree with that, but I kind of wanted I want them to educate people a little bit in some way, like, oh, that's a Coelophysis, that's a Allosaurus, or something like that, because these movies are such a great platform for teaching people about these creatures. And I just, I want them to say that it's an Allosaurus or something.
I know what you mean. I think from a writer's perspective, they probably didn't want that because it would be a bit too convenient because they already have a science kid in there who's kind of explaining what's going on, and then they have a dinosaur kid there as well. I think that would have been a bit. This is supposed to represent a very average, generic family, right, with their problems. So if they had that, even though every kid loves dinosaurs, I think that would have been a bit too unbelievable.
Although there was a scene where he's looking at a dinosaur book and he's like looking through the pages, and even then, if he was just looking through the book to try and find out some information, and he's like, oh, I think that's meant to be this or that. Even if it was just a subtle thing, I really would have liked that. But I do understand.
I know what you mean, because that bit of the film where he's looking through the book, it's just a filler shot, isn't it? They've got shots from all the family, and you get to see how they all cope with the current situation. And that was his way of they've got to show it what every member of the family's doing, so they got to show the kid doing something. So I guess have him look at a dinosaur book. So, but yeah, if he pointed at, because what you saw there was, I remember seeing there was a ceratopsian of some sort, but that's not even the film. So why did they even pick that to show in the film? It's strange. They could have easily done a bit.
There was
more
just
like
an
what you said.
opportunity there. Yeah, there was just a good opportunity. But I must say that scene with the book was very similar to Jaws. I don't know if you also noticed that. It's when Brody is looking through the book on sharks, and it sort of builds tension as to what a shark is capable of. And they kind of do that here with that T-Rex that he's looking at in the book, sort of ripping into that herbivore. It was kind of reminiscent of that.
You know what they should have done? They had him look at that. They had him look at that book about three quarters through the film, didn't they? They should have had the family try and figure out what these things were together.
Yes, that would have been. Yeah, that's a very good idea. That would have been really great.
Yeah, there was that jump, wasn't there? Because there was, you could see them all going, "Oh my God, what is that?" One by one. And then there's the bit where the adults get chased into the house and they board up the place. So they all see what that thing is, and they all go, "What was that?" But they all just go, "That's a dinosaur." But that looks so different from what dinosaurs thought were like back in 1982. I think it would have been really cool if they maybe manage to sneak into the library and figure it out again.
Oh,
Together.
yes, that would have been good.
Yeah, because we already had the library in there. You might as well use that place again for that bit of the film. I know it's dangerous. They would have to go there, but they could have written the library to be a bit closer or something. I don't know.
There could have been some sort of stuff like maybe the book mentions Allosaurus as a fast runner, or they could mention little traits or something that they could maybe apply to the situation or try and learn from it. Maybe
that's not what the average person family does. Maybe they don't care and they just don't want to learn.
Non-dinosaur people are weird, Marco.
Yeah, I know.
Very weird.
I know what you mean. I just remembered another creature that was in there. Those tortoises, or whatever they were.
Oh, yes.
They were interesting, but again, they suffered from the spikeification, didn't they?
Yes.
They looked like gigantic snapping turtles, but they added huge spikes on the shells, didn't they?
And that gave me that AI feel again of just add spikes, add things on sort of thing. But they were one of the few creatures that we got to really sort of take in and look at for a while. Most of the other creatures I noticed were very fast glimpses, especially that Coelophysis animal. That particular one was very fast, and I just felt like we didn't get to really take in a lot of these designs. They felt very fleeting to me.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I wanted to talk about that. That Coelophysis thing is probably one of the best the best looks we get at any of those creatures. We get to see the Allosaurus really up close. We get to see that Coelophysis full body and everything pretty close as well. Those Rhamphorhynchus thing, they're not Rhamphorhynchus, those pterosaurs, we got to see quite a bit of those. But everything else, like that Ankylosaur, like that Stegosaur, unfortunately not the sauropods, but everything else was pretty quick. It was probably as quick as of a glance you get as the trailer. They don't linger on screen for very long, maybe just 2 seconds at most. Which I appreciated, because the longer on screen a really horribly inaccurate dinosaur is, the more upset I get, I think. So I appreciated that they weren't shown much, and it kind of made me forget about them. That's not the point of those creatures. The point is to world build a bit and to make them look like they're in some sort of prehistoric setting. Which is probably why they didn't think it mattered that much to make them look that accurate, because they were in it for so short, for such a short amount of time. So I appreciated that you didn't get to see much of them.
It did have a good mysterious vibe going on in this movie.
Yeah, and that again goes back to that whole Super 8 thing that I mentioned. That's very, very mysterious. The whole beginning part of the film is very Super 8. There's the whole mystery thing going on. There's bright light showing up. You think it might be aliens. You think it might be this, might be that. Very strange supernatural stuff going on. And I am all for that. I love that stuff so much. I'm a big Alien guy. Not Alien the film, but aliens in general. I love that stuff. And seeing a bit of that mystery. I'm a mystery guy. I love that stuff. Scooby-Doo all the way.
And it was quite cool, I thought, at the end, where we see the whole town disappearing in that portal, and we get like a super far away shot of the whole town just disappearing and being replaced with the prehistoric version of that piece of land. Mm-hmm. And I really like that too. But that mystery element was so cool of not exactly explaining many things.
Yeah, it was very refreshing, because everything nowadays in film is spoon-fed, isn't it?
And what did you think? Oh yeah, sorry.
No,
what
carry
were
on.
you? I'm probably jumping the gun a bit, but what did you think about that ending with
Right.
the decision they made?
Right, that was part of the points I wanted to talk about, actually. So,
Oh,
let's just give some context. Spoilers. Massive spoilers. Watch the film. Well, but it's too late for that anyway. So, the Ewan McGregor's character dies, and it's a very, very big thing. It's horrible. It's nasty. They managed to find a portal, because there's little portals opening up here and there that take you back and forth from prehistory to current day. And they managed to fall through, jump through these portals, one of these portals, and end up just before the whole neighborhood vanished into the past. They managed to somehow end up in current day, like half an hour before the whole neighborhood vanished into prehistory. So they've got some time left to do something. They go up on top of the hill outside of the neighborhood and look down, and the science girl, I forget her name, the kid who's into science stuff, she says something along the lines of, does that mean there's us down there still? Because it's not happened yet, right? Which is a very ballsy thing to do for writers, because they could have just left it there. They could have just had the film finished there. Okay, they're safe and everything. But they wanted to carry it on and give it a happy ending. But that has some very important implications, right? So yeah, the kid is right. There must be another version of the family down there, which gives Anne Hathaway's character an idea, and she goes to a payphone and starts phoning people in the neighborhood and warning them about something, and for them to get out of the neighborhood so they can get saved and don't have to experience going back in time and everything. But so we're surprised at the end. A pizza car shows up, and it's the dad's car, and he's delivering a pizza to them. She made a phone call to the pizza place so that her husband could go and deliver a pizza to them and save him, which was great. I loved that. But that means, Max, doesn't it, that the other version of the family that goes back in time doesn't have their husband anymore. You know, the dad of the family. Yeah. So they just go up in there, and that's assuming that they won't show up later again, and they manage to survive without the dad, without the husband. And you know, at what point does the timeline split? So they just kind of left it out there in the open, and apparently they didn't come back. They probably just all died, but they stole that version of the husband back, which is very odd, but it does give a bit of a happy ending. But if you think about it from a personal point of view, right? The husband and the wife, Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor's characters didn't get along very well originally, and this whole incident made her appreciate him more, and they seemed like they live happily ever after. But he never experienced any of that stuff. He probably suffers from some weird imposter syndrome or something, where he feels like he doesn't belong to that family because they've experienced something without him, and she's got proof of him with a picture of him and the dinosaurs in the background. You know, it probably sucks, you know. You go, but that's not me, is it? So there's that weird disconnect that he must feel, but I'm overthinking it, you know, and that's the trouble with these types of films, where there's some mind-boggling stuff going on. You know,
the ending is, yeah,
it just feels natural to want to figure out what's going on if it's open, if it's left open like that. But it's a good thing, I think. It is a good thing, but it does have implications.
It is a very interesting ending because, as you said at first, it's like a very happy ending where they get him back, and it's great that they save a whole lot of other people, and it's like a really happy feeling. But after it sinks in for a while, you start, and when you start thinking about it further, then you think, oh, as you said, then it means he isn't there to help his family against the Allosaurus, and then what does that mean? And it kind of becomes a little bit darker once you think more deeply on it. And yeah. And did you notice that
Sora said that it's just a separate timeline now, and that's just completely diverged there, and which explains why everything's fine now. But I don't know, it's just a bit weird.
Did you notice there was that girl that they found along the way whose parents were killed? Did you notice at the end there were two of her at the celebration get together? Yes. They had the version of her that they brought back with them, and then the version of her that never went back to the dinosaur times. So there were two versions of her at that party, and when you see that, it's like,
oh my god.
Yes,
100%. I gotta tell Sora about that. I did not notice. Are you sure about it? Did you actually see that?
I'm 100% sure. 100% sure.
Oh, yeah. that is messed up, isn't it?
I know. So then you
thinking about it.
I know. So once you start thinking about it more, it starts, that happy ending unravels a little bit. But that's great. I mean, if a movie makes you think more about it this, that's what you want. You want that.
Oh, and wasn't the music great, by the way?
Yes.
There was some bits of the film that didn't have music, and it felt very, very raw and primal, and that was great. And then some bits had some great music. You know who the composer is?
No, I don't.
It's Michael Giacchino, the same guy that did the last few Jurassic films. Except for Rebirth. He didn't do Rebirth. He did Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion.
Okay. No, I did really like the music in this.
It was very good.
I did think that was great. And I've got to say, didn't you feel a bit sorry for those poor dinosaurs that were sent to the future?
Yeah, a little bit. But not too bad, because they're not real dinosaurs. They look like monsters anyway, so...
Oh, I know. I felt bad for that Allosaurus. He was just being shot at just by a whole lot of people. Shame. I felt bad for him. But
there are a couple of other things I want to talk about. But yeah, you were saying?
I'm kind of jumping all over the place.
Oh, me too. Me too. Yeah, if you guys watching are expecting some sort of order to this, I'm sorry. Nope.
Well, I liked that there wasn't a main dinosaur that was like the threat throughout the movie. I liked that there were different creatures that had the spotlight. But the Allosaurus has featured the most prominently in all the promotions for this movie and the trailer, and it has quite a notable scene with that major character death. And I really like that Allosaurus was kind of given more of the spotlight, even though Spinosaurus is there. I'm glad that they went with Allosaurus for all these promotions as kind of their flagship dinosaur in a way.
Yeah.
I do quite like that.
Yeah, Allosaurus deserves some love. And again, it just puts it into perspective again with that Spinosaurus, because it really should not have been there, that Spinosaurus. It just felt so out of place, didn't it?
I know, and it could have just been Morrison animals.
Yeah, I know.
We could have just had those.
It makes me want to reshoot the film as a fan film and just put the dinosaurs we want to put in instead.
Yes. We've got to make our own dinosaur movie one day,
Oh,
Marco.
that's gonna happen.
do
Yeah.
it. Yes,
All the puppets
definitely.
and everything.
Yes. And so what else did you want to talk about?
Right, so one of it's mostly to do with the characters again. So the film is not a dinosaur film. It is a film about the family, about the characters. It's not like Jurassic Park. It's not like well, Jurassic Park does have a big part, like the characters play a big part, but the dinosaurs play a huge part. The dinosaurs here are just dinosaurs, are just there. They're not the main plot point. The main thing is the characters and how they deal with everything. And again, it goes back to that whole no stereotype kind of thing. And there is a thing in there that I'd like to talk about, and that is subversion of expectations in general with characters, right? Because you expect the characters to behave in a certain way, and you expect the film to end in a certain way, and you expect the characters to have gone through an arc and end up in a certain way. But this film doesn't really do that much. It does a bit because that's just what you need in a film. But for example, the kid, is he called Brian? The whatever 12-year-old kid in it.
I can't remember any of their names.
There was a bit at the beginning of the film where he's with his friends and they talk about, oh, dude, that guy is gonna beat you up because you broke his brother's arm or something like that. There's that whole bit, and then they stumble upon the new girl's house. Right, there's a new girl moved in, which is the girl that we talked about earlier, the one that there's two of at the end of the film. But you know, you can see that the boy, he's really liking her. There's that, you know, oh, I kind of fancy her. There's close-up shots of him fancying her and everything. And you think, as a viewer, you think, okay, by the end of the film, they're going to be holding hands, because that's just what happens in these types of films. That did not happen at all, whatsoever. Also, the kid had a bow and arrow. He's always carrying that thing around, and you think, that kid's going to be a hero at one point and shoot a dinosaur in the eye or whatever. But we didn't get that. You can see him trying that, but he's actually really crap at it. He's really bad. He is really bad at it. He does not hit a dinosaur with it, which was quite realistic. And again, with the girl bit. So for context, that the new girl that moved in, her parents are dead about halfway through the film. So she joins the group, and she's in shock and everything. She gets hurt. When they find her, she's getting attacked by something. So the boy grabs his bow and arrow, tries to shoot, but he's crap at it and missed. And there's the sister as well there. And she takes the situation in her hands. She had brought a pocket knife and stabs whatever dinosaur it was, and it runs off. So she saves the day. You expect the boy to save the day, but no, it's the sister. And then later on, when there's sort of the waters have calmed down a little bit, they're at their house, or they're at a house, and the sister is looking after the girl, and she's, you know, bandaging her up a bit, and the boy kid is desperately like wanting to. You can see he's wanting to say something to win her over or something like that, but he's just awkward, and the girl feels the awkwardness, and she's not interested at all. She really isn't, and in fact, it's the sister and the girl that start bonding together with how awkward the brother's being, you know. And that was nice. It didn't come across as, you know, they fancy each other, the girls fancy each other. No, it feels like two lost, very lonely girls. One of them's a nerd who doesn't have many friends, and the other one's a new girl in the neighborhood, just bonding together and becoming friends. which is nice. It's refreshing. You don't really see that happen much. And it breaks away from that expectation of the boy saving the day and the boy gets the girl, you know? And I liked that. It was really good.
Yes, and I completely agree. That subverting of expectations thing was a reoccurring theme in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you expected Anne Hathaway's character to pop, didn't you? At that point.
Yes. Oh gosh. Something though that I'm quite surprised about is, you know, when we see that the attic has been, not the attic, the basement has been flooded. And it's revealed that Anne's, all of her writings and the book that she was writing was completely destroyed underwater. I thought we were going to have a moment of her like going into the water to try and rescue her work or something, and there would be a crocodilian in the water or there would be something in the water there. It gave me that feeling that there must be something coming out of that basement, because I don't know, it felt like it could have been foreshadowing something coming out of there at some point.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but yeah, that again plays into the whole expectation thing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really, this film is really good. There's so much symbolism in there as well. That was a symbolic moment for her, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Because again, some context. She's been writing this book as an escape from her family situation. She's not happy. The husband's not happy. They don't talk much. They've clearly got some issues. The husband just lost his job, but he didn't tell her, and he's drinking, and she's not happy. She feels like she needs to escape, both physically and symbolically, you know, emotionally. So she's always away, typing away at her typewriter, writing a story which is essentially about a lady, about a woman abandoning her family and wanting to start a new life. And she used to escape and write these stories in the basement, and then the basement flooded, so she lost all of that. And I think Sora said that she saw someone comment on that whole thing online saying, well, she could just rewrite it, can't she? But that's not the point, is it? The point is, it's all a metaphor about how she doesn't have her escape anymore. She has to deal with her family right now. She has to deal with the reality of the situation and face it. And when she eventually does face it, because he does find out, the Ewan McGregor's character does find out about the book and what she's been writing, and he is disgusted by it. He's not understanding at all. In fact, it is quite worrying. It is quite worrying if you think about it. But she had to face that. Her acting when she has to finally confront her demons like that, was her panic in her eyes just felt so tangible and real. It makes you, their acting makes you feel uncomfortable because of how real it looks and feels. It's truly really special, that film. It is nasty. You know, it's nasty, but you can't not appreciate just how well written and how well acted that is. Comparing it to what we've been used to, Max, for the past few installments in the Jurassic franchise. If there's people out there that are watching this video that aren't really familiar with Jurassic but I've seen other things, they're probably thinking, this film isn't anything special because they're used to good writing, but we're not, Max. We've
been through the trenches so many times.
And there were a couple of bits in the film with symbolism, right? And that whole thing about the husband, the dad, you know, coming back home and having to take off the pizza sign from the roof of the car because it embarrassed the wife. He said, oh, you know, he's talking to the kid, to the boy, and he says, your mother doesn't like this, it embarrasses her, she thinks it's, you know, so I have to go and hide it every night or whatever when I come back. That was on the car when stuff started to happen, because, you know, stuff went down didn't have time to get rid of it.
Yes.
And then, I don't know if you noticed this, Max, but when he dies, they go back home and the sign is destroyed on the car roof. It's still there, but it's gone. And I thought that was cool to see that realization of him not being there anymore, but completely mangled and destroyed was pretty cool.
And
The film had bits like that in it. It's just very not really in your face, but if you look at symbolism, it's there, and I really like that.
No, that's always good. It's always good when you can find things like that, and I know that we've already spoken about sequels to this already. How you said that you really like it being just a solid story on its own. But you know how Hollywood is. I mean, since this movie is a success, and I'm sure people will want some sort of follow-up to this, do you think... how do you think that they could do a follow-up to the story, unless they just do completely different characters in a different time?
Right.
I was trying to think to myself, like, if they did something like that and went to the Pleistocene instead, or like a different time, maybe, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I had a talk with Sora about this, and we both agree that it wouldn't do the film very good if there was a sequel, because sequels are very hard to make, especially with these types of films, because this film worked so well because it wasn't explained too much, right? It was, you're given some idea of what might be going on, but it's not set in stone as to what it actually is happening.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing with Stranger Things. I don't know if you've seen that show, but the first season, the second one as well was alright, was so good because it was mysterious. You didn't know what was going on. Then they started explaining everything, and it lost its magic. It lost its charm, and it became a product, you know, because they expected people to want more. And these types of films suffer horribly from this kind of stuff. So the same. So I kind of, if they do want to do a follow-up, a sequel or whatever, it should, and this applies to Stranger Things, how I think Stranger Things should have been. It should be a completely different story, should be a completely different cast. It should be an anthology, which is why the Twilight Zone is so good. Do you know what the Twilight Zone is?
No, so I haven't watched that or Stranger Things, to be honest.
The Twilight Zone is incredible. It is so good. It's a bit like Black Mirror, which is more recent.
Okay.
So the Twilight Zone is an anthology of weird things happening. You know, very similar to this kind of thing. It's a very, very similar. End of Oak Street is something that I could see in a Twilight Zone film or thing. It was a TV show. It started in the 60s, early 60s, late 50s, early 60s, something like that. Black and white and everything. And I've seen a couple of those first episodes, and you know, if you look back at stuff in the 60s or 50s, you think, oh, it's a bit silly, but it's actually so good. It gives me shivers every time I watch one of those episodes from back then. They're so well written. And it's all about weird things happening, weird things, unexplainable, and how people deal with them. And it's got a message at the end, like a moral or a lesson to be learned. The Simpsons did a spoof episode on the Twilight Zone. Are you familiar with The Simpsons? Have you watched The Simpsons?
Oh, yes.
There's a Treehouse of Horror episode where Bart and Milhouse find a stopwatch that stops time. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I think so.
That is a
It's
spoof
been a
of
while.
that's a spoof of a Twilight Zone episode, which is brilliant, by the way. It's great. So yeah, I think if they wanted to do a film, a sequel to this, it should be something else. It doesn't have to be someone going back in time. It can be something else. It doesn't matter. But if they do want to go back in time again, I think going forward in time would be a bit weird. If they wanted to do forward in time, as long as it's not something really, really in the future, which can be a bit silly. If it's something to do with maybe even just a week ahead, and you see something weird going on, that you get taken a week ahead in the future, and you have to figure out what the heck's gone wrong because this part of the future is just so weird, you know, it's just so strange. And then you get to figure out bit by bit what happened in that week to find out what actually has gone wrong. Or they could do that, or maybe they could go back in time, maybe not dinosaurs, maybe not something before or after, just after dinosaurs. What about, it might come across as very weird, but maybe cavemen or something like that, where you don't figure it out until the end and you go, wait a minute, these are actual people, you know, these are people. And it could be like it could be like a last reveal of the film, like a last pivot, well, it's not a plot point of the film, and you find out, oh, right, because maybe something got fossilized from one of these people, modern people, and someone finds it. I don't know. Something like that.
I think they have to go back in time again. I think this has been established as like a great new dinosaur movie, and I think it would just be disappointing if they didn't go back to more of that same vibe. It could be cool to maybe go to prehistoric South America and with large Smilodon populator, or maybe some terror birds. But it's hard to beat dinosaurs. They are just so cool. Maybe they'd have to do like more of a Hell Creek formation thing or something. But then again, if they had just stuck to the Morrison, then they could do another time and location. Like they could do Egypt and do, or the Kem beds and do North African dinosaurs, or, you know, they could travel to the different locations and things. Because in this movie, it's also implied that this this section of land that gets transported back in time is that specific area just back in time. It doesn't seem to be like just a completely different place of the world in ancient times sent back to then. If you know what I mean. Like it would have worked so well if it was Morrison, like North American Jurassic animals, but then having the Spinosaurus and Titanoboa there messes things up a bit with geography stuff. But yeah, I think they would have to do more dinosaurs, and they would have to try and go bigger in some way.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you want, because it could easily become silly, especially with today's stuff. Yeah, I guess just have faith, because these writers did such a commendable job with this film. But again, sequels are always so hard to nail. Sequels are what establish, I think, what to expect further on. So if they did do a dinosaur one again, what kind of story can they tell that hasn't been told already? You know? What kind of... If you have a family again? You can't, because that's already been done. What else is there to do?
Yeah, I know. They'll probably come up with something crazy. But...
I still think that this should not be a dinosaur series if they do want to do a series. I think it should be some isolated cases of weird things happening. Which is what, in the grand scheme of things, which is what we need. There's not many series that do that. There's never been a film series that do that. We got close with Stranger Things, but they didn't do an anthology. We got the closest thing we got is the Twilight Zone and Black Mirror, but it's not quite this, is it? If we got something like this, but as a series with different stories, you get the opportunity to explore so many different themes and so many different things. I think that would be ideal. And I really quite like the idea of that future episode of them being in the future for about a week and seeing what actually happened in that week. You know?
Oh my gosh, it's almost like you should watch Primeval.
I have it.
Watch it. Come on, you gotta watch it.
Yeah, I will.
Maybe we should have a talk about Primeval once you've watched the entire first season, and then we could come back to things about this idea.
Yeah,
because Primeval is basically this movie. This movie's basically a giant episode of Primeval, and they take that show in many different directions. Like they'll go to the far future. Probably should say spoilers for the show, but it's a bit late. But they go into the far future.
25 years old or something like that, isn't it? Well, 20 years old, something like that.
But they'll go to see future creatures and creatures from earlier in the Pleistocene and Cenozoic, and they go all over. They like jump each episode to different time locations. And it's really interesting. And you've got to see it, Marco.
Yeah, don't worry, I will. I've got it. I'm going to watch it and we'll do a video on it.
Yes, the absolute disgrace of not watching Primeval.
I've seen bits of it.
Movie. Doesn't count.
Max, I just had a thought. What if the sequel is from the point of view of the family at the end of the film, without the husband, without Ewan McGregor's character, and it's them trying to survive down there in prehistory without him, and see how things are different, how the characters change or don't change, and how they react to things without having him around. And it would be very, very hard, very tough to pull off. And then how do you even end the film? But yeah, I suppose that could be a sequel maybe, but that you risk digging a hole that might be a bit too deep.
Oh, that's a very interesting idea. I think that could be, that definitely could be an option. It just gets a bit tricky with time travel stuff. It can get a bit messy. Maybe there could be, I don't know, maybe some sort of revenge thing to get the dad back from the family who stole him originally, or I don't know, but there could definitely be something there. Okay, well, do you have any other thoughts about this movie? Any other things that you want to talk about?
Yes. I think this film, I hope this film changes the general public, but especially big film studios' perception on dinosaurs, because I am sick and tired of having Jurassic films be the way that Jurassic films are at the moment.
Absolutely.
Rebirth promised something and it didn't deliver in my eyes. It's extremely generic, and they don't care about dinosaurs in my eyes. You can disagree as much as you want, but it's just my opinion.
100% agree.
I think this is what Dominion should have been. Maybe not quite as dark, but definitely the writing needs to be like this film. The writing was just phenomenal in this film, and the acting, the way people deal with things. If you got rid of the time portal things in this film, and you said it was a Jurassic World Dominion film, I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
Yes. Absolutely.
This probably would have been the best. It would have definitely have been the best Jurassic World film if this was a Jurassic
for
World
sure.
film. Yeah, by far.
And yes. And it shows everybody that we don't need a stupid hybrid or mutated creature to be a big bad in the movie. We just need dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We just need these amazing animals.
Yeah. And dinosaurs used like this to make characters evolve like this is the way it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to be seeing snapshots of people's lives dealing with this stuff instead of the big picture of InGen and all of that. I think we've had enough of that with Fallen Kingdom, Dominion. Just have an anthology about dinosaur attacks and how people deal with them, but you have to have them written properly, like this. Hire whoever wrote this thing for a Jurassic film, because this is how it's done. The way this film is shot. Also, yeah, the camera work in this film is beautiful.
Yes,
it's really it's great. It really is. Oh, there was one bit that really makes you understand how messed up things are, and how this film isn't babying you at all. It's not holding your hand. There's the stampede bit. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so there's Anne Hathaway's character with Ewan McGregor's character who are looking for the kids because the kids went out. Oh, we didn't talk about the dog. There's the dog. The dog is nowhere to be seen. The brother sees the dog really quick, and oh gosh, it was so good. This bit, it's not, but it is. The parents are arguing, right? They're having a really big row, and the kids are trying to cope with it. The girl goes and hides in her room, and the boy is in his room too. But he sees the dog, right? He sees the dog in the garden, and he goes, "Oh, okay, I need to get the dog." What would be the first instinct of a kid right there? It would be to go and tell the parents, right? The kid would go, "Look, there's a dog there! Quick, let's go get him," or something like that, you know. But because they were having a row, not thinking about their children, thinking about their own problems, the kids didn't feel safe to go and tell the parents that the dog was there. So what does he do? He sneaks out to go look for the dog. The fact that there's that repercussion of the parents thinking about their own problems is just such a realistic aspect about how kids deal with arguments in families. And it spiraled, didn't it? Because the kid went, he got beaten up by that other kid, the brother of the kid that got his arm broken, and then the sister sees that he's not there, so she goes out looking for him. That's how they find the other kid and everything. But the parents go out to look for the kid, to look for the kids, right? And at that moment, when they're them two, they hear, "Oh, there's a big fly." Oh, I almost caught it. Sorry. We've been having a horrible fly problem over the past couple of days. But anyway, when they're looking for the kids, they can hear a big rumble coming from in front of them, and they stop and they go, "What is going on?" And they understand that it's a stampede. They run inside a random car. They run inside and hide inside a random car, and you could see the fear in their eyes. You know, they just had a horrible row, but the fear joined them together, and they were both caressing each other's faces, just going, "Oh my God, you know, this sucks." In the back of the car, you can see the dinosaur feet going over the car and squishing it and everything. They're there fearing for their lives. And then when the stampede's over, the camera pans out and you can see a dead person on the front seat.
Oh, yes.
You know, what might have been a moment of relief for them is just... And they did not pay attention to that dead person. That dead person would have freaked them the heck out maybe a couple of hours prior. but because they're so used to being such a crappy situation, they just didn't even notice that there was a dead lady in the car. And that's just little details like that really make you go, oh, this is bad.
Yes.
We need that in Jurassic. Because stuff like that would have happened in the first film. They would have definitely done something really. Come on, you get Ray Arnold's body parts shown and stuff. They would definitely have done something that dark at least. But it feels different from Jurassic, doesn't it? Because they do try and do a couple of dark things in there, but it just doesn't sit right because the rest of the film is just not serious enough.
This was just what we needed. It really was, just to shake things up and just remind people of how awesome these movies can be with these dinosaurs and these unpredictable and dangerous things that happen. It was just so well done.
Yeah,
and
it really was.
I really was so delighted when I was seeing these things happening on the big screen. I was just kept on thinking, yes, that was such a good thing. I'm so glad they did that. And it's just, it makes it so much more realistic.
Mm-hmm. It felt like an older style film, didn't it? Early 2010s kind of thing, with a bit of 90s sprinkled in there in terms of how it was made. It was shot. Unfortunately, there were no practical effects. If they were, it was probably some very close, like the fur maybe of the sauropods brushing on the glass, something like that. Maybe some little small things like that. But the way that this film was done is, I think, with a very sort of old school way of doing films in mind, because they didn't have gigantic set pieces. They didn't have to have a giant wow kind of environment. It's just a neighborhood. You don't need to spend tons of money to film in a neighborhood, even though they probably did because they built sets and there's a lot of CG in it. But that doesn't matter. What matters is it's just a neighborhood, and you can still get a great film out of that. It sort of, again, gets rid of those expectations that the bigger the thing is, the better. Stranger Things started small with a small budget, started with a small idea, with a small set pieces, and then it devolved into this kind of stupid thing where it got too big for its shoes, and they started putting way too big sets in it, and the thing about these types of films, right, is the smaller the set pieces are, the more realistic it feels, the more grounded in realism it is, because it just is. You don't need to have cameras flying all over the place. You don't have to have giant military bases or a huge park or something so sci-fi. All you need to do is put real people in real environments and to see how they deal with it. That's all you need to get a good film. You just need a good writer and small set pieces. You don't need anything crazy.
Yeah. Did you get Jumanji vibes from this movie?
Interesting.
Especially that stampede scene is very similar to the Jumanji movie where all those creatures start going over the car. The very first Jumanji movie with Robin Williams.
Yeah. Now you mention it, I didn't think straight away about it, but if you think about it, that first Jumanji film, it's got those other films, the newer ones, have got no business having that same name, have they? Because, okay, that Jumanji film, that 90s one with Robin Williams, it had some silly bits and everything, humor bits, but it had some really dark bits in it.
It did.
The whole thing about, to me at least, the jungle, Jumanji, felt scary. It felt like somewhere you did not want to be, because it didn't reveal too much about it. It just went about with what Robin Williams' character was saying, and how his reaction to that. to talking about how Jumanji is the jungle and everything. That was scary, the way everything was
Yes.
implied. And that's, again, it's a 90s thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it's the best way to see things isn't really being shown them. It's through good writing and good acting. And this film is testament to that, I think.
Yes.
So what would you change about this film?
I would have, as I've said so many times, I would have just made it Jurassic Morrison animals.
Right, let's make this a bullet point list.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of stuff I've said already, but I really want some sort of educational thing to come out of this movie, like with a character who knows about dinosaurs in some little way and who can just say, oh, this is an Allosaurus, and something. I want there to be some way of being able to educate the greater public about this, because I've heard other people talking about this movie, and they'll say, oh, those raptor dinosaurs in the beginning or something. And I'm like, no, they're not raptors. They're coelophysids or something like that. And other people will see the Allosaurus and say, oh, there's a T-Rex or something. And it's like, oh, man. Maybe it's just my inner dinosaur nerd just like wanting to rage and say, no, guys. I just want more people to know about these awesome creatures. And I want people to know, like, that was a Titanoboa, and that was such a cool, amazing creature that really did exist, because lots of people who are watching this are just saying, oh, it's just a freaky dino snake. But it's, I just want more people to just have a greater understanding of everything. So I would have definitely wanted to add something like that into the story, where we could just be able to learn more about these animals for more people.
If you want to have a sequel, maybe that could be incorporated in it. Maybe if you do really want to have a sequel, it could be trying to deal with the dinosaurs that are there, and you get experts, and then it becomes educational.
Yes, I loved how in the first Jurassic Park, Tim was kind of our guy Tim and Alan Grant, how they would just say, oh, there's a Dilophosaurus, like they're looking on the guidebook, and then they would very subtly give the names to us in a nice, natural way. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love that we're teaching people a little something while they're watching this movie. And it's not just sort of a monster thriller thing. I think I've got a deep need to try and tell more people about these animals and what they're really like.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
But also...
sorry, before I forget, because I'm terrible. One of my favorite instances of educational bits in films, in a Jurassic film, is in The Lost World with the paleontologist talking about Pachycephalosaurus and how it attacks. And you get to see it happen right in front of you.
I know.
That kind of stuff is cool. So if you want to educate people, do it like that. That's cool.
Yeah, you can integrate it in so many interesting, subtle ways that could enhance the story and just make it a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So I would have liked to have done something like that. But I just overall did have a very good time with this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm definitely super keen to see it again sometime soon. And yeah, there are certain little things about the dinosaur designs that do sort of irk me every now and again, but for the most part, it's brilliant, and I would highly recommend this to anyone.
Yeah,
I really
I recommend it too. I think if I was to change a couple of things of it in it, would be, again, like you said, the dinosaurs. And I would want more practical effects in it.
Yes.
And I would definitely would not want any AI involved at all. And I would not want any AI advertising at all either, because screw that stuff.
No.
But I want to give people a little bit of an insight as to, you know, a possible explanation as to why we didn't get accurate dinosaurs, or as accurate as they could have been. Back in the day when Jurassic Park was made, filmmakers did research. They wanted everything to be, especially for Jurassic Park, to be as accurate as possible for the time. Maybe not even, you know, how am I going to explain this? Maybe it's not accurate, but you can sort of get away with some things in Jurassic because Jurassic, right? And that's becoming a bit too much of a that sentiment's becoming a bit too much of a scapegoat, unfortunately, in the Jurassic franchise. But in any case, the thing about that is there were different times. Back then, there was a thing called pre-production, which is not really a thing anymore. Pre-production is where most of Jurassic Park was made, right?
Yes.
Pre-production and production were the most important bits about the Jurassic Park legacy, really, because that is when the designs were nailed. That is when the animatronics were made. The animatronics and designs were done by Stan Winston Studios, and unfortunately companies like that aren't really taken seriously anymore in the film industry, because it's all about trying to make films as quick as possible, right? Back in the day there was some leeway for timing stuff, because people in general had a bit more money. There was more money to go around to spend on making things properly, right? There was money, therefore there was time to invest that money into making things look great and stuff. But now, because the world is so capitalist, everything has to be done as quickly as possible. Pre-production isn't really a thing anymore. Even when I was working on film, it was being cut down so much. And now it's almost non-existent. And especially with this AI stuff coming out, it's going to encourage that even more, because you can make things even quicker now. And big companies, as we all know now, don't really care about doing things properly as much. They want things to be done as quickly as possible. And even though this film is great, it does suffer from that, because from what I can see, I think there was barely any pre-production at all. They were probably designing these things while they were still filming it. In fact, I could probably guarantee you that, because that's just how film's done now. They just, because everything's CG, they can just do everything in last minute. And if you do things last minute, it means you don't have to waste too much time on it, which means it gets cheaper. Because time is money. So, okay, they might have hired a specialist, but they just don't have the time to refine things. Or maybe this specialist did give them loads of great feedback, but they did not have the time to sit down and sort through it and nail it, you know? They probably just heard, through Chinese whispers, dinosaurs, telephone game, right? Dinosaurs had feathers, right? Let's just do that, you know? And let's tick that off the box, because the higher ups are putting pressure on us. And that's just the reality of film nowadays. There's barely any time for pre-production.
It's also so frustrating.
It really
that whole
is.
thing with the dog. You know, that dog AI podcast thing that they were doing to try and promote this movie. That was very disturbing. It's kind of like whoever was doing that was testing the waters with AI and movies a little bit to try and see what the reaction would be to doing AI effects in a movie. And that whole decision was just so bad. I know it turned a whole lot of people off of this movie. And I know you were saying as well that once you saw that whole thing with the dog and that AI thing that they did, it really damaged our preconceived thoughts of things coming forward in this movie.
Yeah, I was dead certain to not go and watch this film because of that. And I only went there because you said it was a good film, but it wasn't just because of that. It was a combination of things, and the thing that really made me give in really was the fact that I could have made that evening into a nice date evening with Sora. You know, that was the take. That was the thing that you know, and that's a thing that a lot of people should keep in mind as well. That sure, this AI stuff is awful. It really is terrible. It's got so much wrong with it in so many different ways. But that shouldn't take away from experiencing the life you want, you know? This sounds corny as heck, but you know, you're right. You know, I got to have a great evening with my girlfriend, you know, and we did have a lovely day together, and we watched a good movie. We experienced it together. We learnt things from the film as well. We got to see how people deal with stuff, because it felt really realistic in that sense, and it makes you think, you know, how as well from the way the couple was behaving. It made us think about how we behave when we're stressed and stuff. You know, it is that film. It might not be educational about dinosaurs, but it is educational about other things, just because of how good the writing was, you know, in people's relationships kind of way, not really dinosaurs. Yes. And I took a lot from that, and we can't focus on just the crappiness of AI, because that might take away from you experiencing good things.
Yes,
but you can still acknowledge. I'm very glad. You can still acknowledge that the AI stuff should not be a thing. It's horrible, and this fly is pissing me off.
Oh gosh! Well, I'm so glad that you went to go and see this movie. I'm really glad, and also so thrilled that I can talk to you about it, and that we can discuss all these things.
Yeah,
and. It's really been cool.
Yeah, huge pleasure talking with you.
Yeah.
Every time.
I also just want to ask, out of interest, I see that the director of this movie also made It Follows.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that movie?
I haven't. Have you?
I have. It's a horror movie, and the whole scene with the Titanoboa was actually very similar to this movie, It Follows. Basically, it's about this entity which follows this young woman around, and it's chasing after her, but it's only walking the entire time. And it's something that creeps up on you, and no matter how far away you get, this monster will eventually catch you, and you have to keep moving. And it was so well done, and there were lots of elements of that movie that were used in here, or lots of recognizable scenes and tones. And I was wondering if you were also picking up on that. But I think you'll have to watch that movie too. We need to add it to the list alongside Primeval.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about dinosaurs' sound design in recent movies and documentaries. Yeah. If you compare the roars and sound effects that we have now to much older dinosaur movies, the difference is night and day, to be honest. The older sound effects were so good and iconic. If you think of the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus sound effects, those sounds are so awesome, and you know that's the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. And with these later movies, or more recent ones, there's no particular roar or sound that stands out to you to being, oh, that's the end of Oak Street Allosaurus, or that's the Coelophysis, like there's all the movies these days are very generic dinosaur sound effects. There's nothing that you can really grab and be like, oh yes, that's that. To me, at least, I
know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I think we talked about this before out of recording. But yeah, we're comparing the new Jurassic World dinosaur sounds compared to the Jurassic Park dinosaur sounds. And if you take the Carnotaurus, for example, can you picture its roar? Yeah. Can you hear it in your head? Because I can't. It's would you be able to distinguish that from anything else in the Jurassic, like the baryonyx? I might be able to, because I've seen the films quite a few times, but if you watch Jurassic Park, even...
Do you know what I hear when I think of the Spinosaurus? Sorry.
What do you hear?
When I think of the Jurassic World baryonyx, all I hear is that young guy screaming and going, ah! I just hear that when I think of the baryonyx's roar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. So
if you watch Jurassic Park, if you've never watched Jurassic Park and you watch it, by the end of the film, I guarantee you'll be able to tell the difference between the T-Rex or the Spinosaurus. But with these newer ones, they've added so many dinosaurs and they all sound so similar. They've lost their uniqueness.
Yes. The only recent dinosaur sound effect that really stands out to me is surprisingly from Jurassic World Evolution with the Carcharodontosaurus.
Is it because it's bit of a recall to Jurassic Park Operation Genesis?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But also that lion sound effect that they've added in there. That sounds cool. Like, that's a sound effect I want to replay, because it sounds it sounds guttural and like a real thing. But yeah, none of these other ones have that.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for Jurassic Park, because in that first Jurassic Park, there's some sounds that are very, very obviously an elephant or a lion for the T-Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Which they toned down a little bit later on in Jurassic Park 2 and 3. It doesn't do those noises as much. But in The Lost World, they kind of replaced a lot of them with pig noises, and it's another story for another time. But at least they're all quite unique. They've all got their own timbre and
yes,
frequencies. The newer films, Indominus Rex, Allosaurus is a bit better, but Carnotaurus, Baryonyx, even the Giganotosaurus, they all sound very messy. The sounds, don't they? They sound like they put too much into that, and it sounds like a mess.
But what on earth did the Giganotosaurus sound like? I don't even remember what its sound was at all.
Well, to be fair, I've not watched Dominion that many times. But
It's painful.
you know, the End of Oak Street did a better job with the sound design, I think, than you know, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, because okay, we can tell what kind of animals some of them are, but they are different enough. The Allosaurus, I can still picture the sound in my head a little bit. It's quite T-Rex sounding like, because that's probably what they were going for. It does have that sound in it, but with the little Coelophysis looking ones, they do sound like elks, but that's unique enough in the film that you can tell the difference.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, they stood out to me the most. Their sound effect was definitely the thing that stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but
how do you make that sort of sounds? That sound unique, but also not too much like real living animals. You know, it's a very hard line to tread on. It's very difficult to nail. And some dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park franchise were nailed, like the Spinosaurus and the T-Rex and the raptors. But then others were just not quite. Like the T-Rex, some of the earlier sounds were just too lion-like. It's just a lion sound effect. Or the baby T-Rex, you know, that works because it looks and sounds right with the design of the dinosaur, but that is pretty much an unaltered sound recording of a baby camel, I think.
Yes, yeah.
But the thing about that is that no one really knows, the general public, even enthusiasts, don't really know what a baby camel sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Which is why it works so well for that baby Rex, is because it's not very well. Nobody knows what a baby camel sounds like, but now you do. But the Coelophysis, the elk sound is so unique amongst animals that it's very easily identifiable. I've played Jurassic Park Warpath, and the Stygimoloch was just an elk sound. It was just like that, unchanged.
Well, is there anything else you want to talk about this movie? I think we've basically covered everything about it.
This maybe a little bit more of the film aspect of it, the color grading and whatever. It looks very natural, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like a Jurassic film with the blue filter or the yellow filter or whatever.
Oh, I'm so tired of that.
Yeah, all the colors look pretty natural and realistic. And I like that.
Yes.
It really grounds it. And again, the dinosaur behavior was great, because you got dinosaurs going through rubbish.
Yes.
And the way they were introduced, the Coelophysis thing, when Ewan McGregor's character hears a noise, because that's the thing with reptiles, isn't it? You hear them before you see them, right? He hears a noise. He's about to go up, because I think he thought it was the dog. I think he thought it was Starbuck or something. He slowly goes up to. Well, he doesn't slowly. He starts to go up to the origin of the sound, and then he sees the shadow of whatever is making the sound, and he sees that's not a dog, is it? Oh, another thing that Sora noticed and pointed out to me was the fact that they didn't go to the neighbors. You know, they didn't try. They didn't try and sort things out with the neighbors, right? Because we got to see the other neighbor.
Yes,
that guy who, by the way, I completely understood his point of view when he went up to Anne Hathaway's character and said, "Look, your dog has been coming into my garden, backyard, and he's been pooping all over the place and making a racket, and he's waking me up at night," and he was fed up about it. And I kind of understood that, you know. I don't want to say relate to that, but he he had a point, and she was just dismissing it.
Does this mean Marco doesn't like dogs?
Oh, I love dogs. I love dogs. but if I was a guy living in my house and I had my neighbor's dog coming in and crapping all over the place, I would not be happy. Especially if I have to repeatedly tell them that it's a problem, you know? If someone came to me and said, "Look, your dog has been crapping in my yard for like a week," I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll try and make that not happen again," you know? And I do my very best to not have the dog go into the neighbor's place and crap all over the place, you know? So I kind of understood that. But yeah, he was a bit of a anyway. But again, the way it was written, Max, I really loved how Ewan McGregor's character tried to de-escalate when he saw the giant pile of crap in this garden.
Yeah.
Right, because it's funny. It is funny. And the wife and the kids were laughing. But the way he dealt with it, you know, the father was so reassuring. You know, I liked that. He might not be the best dad in the world, but he dealt with that really well, because it's a funny situation, but he was clear. He said, "Look, this wasn't us. This wasn't my kids. How could my kids have done this?" One, but he didn't belittle the guy like the wife did and the kids were. He said, "Look, I don't know how this happened, but I can help you, you know?" And that is something not many people would do nowadays, I don't think. But he only did that just so he could keep the peace and actually show him there's no ill intent behind anything, and that it's not their fault. He just wanted to maintain a neighborly relationship. It's so much so that he was happy to shovel dinosaur crap out of his backyard, and I appreciated that. That was nice, and that really, again, it's little things like that make you understand how a person is. In how the character is. You don't need to have exposure dialogue saying, "Oh my god, my family died," and all that, like in Rebirth, you know, that whole 40 minutes of exposure dialogue at the beginning was torturous. I'm so glad we didn't get that in this film. And you don't need it. You just show how people behave in situations like that, and you understand what kind of people they are. Right?
Yes. And I'm also so relieved to have a break from everyone looking like a supermodel. And that's something we've been getting in the...
Well, you got Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway. They're beautiful people. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, they are. But I mean, it's not like every person is a supermodel or action man, or, you know, it's just nice to see more of a natural sort of mundane, well, not mundane, but you know, just like more of a realistic community. I mean, if you think in Rebirth, everyone was good looking and super, you know, like a super person. And
I see what you mean.
And yeah, it's just really nice to have more grounded people. And Anne Hathaway is stunning. She's absolutely gorgeous. But, you know, just like...
actually, there's a point I want to make about that. You are absolutely right, because in so many films, you get, when characters cry, especially when women cry on screen, they do the pretty crying, right? In reality, crying is ugly. The faces that some people can pull while they're crying can be horrifying, horrific, ugly, you know. And I think Anne Hathaway nailed that, because she was doing some proper ugly crying in that.
Yes, and I thought it was also so brilliant how she kind of snaps on her children after
I was talking to
the Allosaurus kills the dad, and the kids are understandably freaking out, and they're like, "Well, what do we do now? What do we do now?" And the way she reacts to that was so real as well. How she just, the absolute desperation of the moment, and everything just is too much. And that was so well acted.
It
She
really
did a
was.
brilliant job there.
Yeah. Oh, did you notice the foreshadowing? They're sitting on the floor in a circle, and the kid explains the science behind it, or at least her theory, right? It's around that time. And Ewan McGregor's character goes, God isn't going to allow us to die. Right?
Yeah.
And Anne Hathaway's character's like, what? How can you say that? You know, when we've seen other people die and they've been praying. They've been praying more than you have. You only pray on, you know, on weekends if you want to, you know. How are you all of a sudden really religious? It's a very, very hard topic to introduce in a film like this, by the way. It's very hard to pull off. And the kid says, yeah, I'm with Dad, you know, I believe in God and everything. And then the sciencey kid says, try and tell that to all the people that have been eaten up, you know, the people that have been devoured. Guess what happens to him? Yeah. That is definitely foreshadowing, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. I do agree with that. And how did you feel about the dog coming in to save the day at the end with him leaping up to grab the pterosaur's foot?
Right. I wasn't entirely sure what to think about it all, but I think that's somewhat realistic behavior from the animal. Sometimes when animals sense something, they don't always stick around. They like to run off. In some cases, they do run off when they sense danger. But then they come back. And I think that was all right. And it didn't quite feel like this whole hero dog coming in to save the day. It felt more like the dog is there. And at least in my perspective, it feels like it just wants to protect its owner, and it's not like he's coming in to save the day, because he does get picked up by the pterosaur and gets flung away and whatever, and it was just a little bit of a reprieve for the boy kid. Instead of getting eaten straight away, it's more like, okay, there's this other thing that's kind of interrupted it a tiny bit, but that's not going to stop the pterosaurs entirely, is it?
I must admit that I am quite a sucker for sacrifice and something like that in movies.
Don't kill the pets, though. That's my only rule. Yeah. That's one thing I didn't like much, is seeing all the cats getting killed.
Oh no,
there was a lot of that. It's realistic, and that would happen, but man, whoever did this film clearly prefers dogs over cats.
Yes. But when, especially when you see an animal sacrificing themselves to save someone, oh, that gets me every time. When I see something like that, it always pulls on my heartstrings quite a bit.
Yeah, if that happened, I think I would have walked out. I can't deal with that. I watched Homeward Bound for the first time two years ago, and I was bawling my eyes out. I really was. And but if there's anything to do with pets and animals, I just can't watch it. You know, there's a new film coming out, I think, with Brad Pitt about him and his dog surviving in the wild, and I'm not watching that. I am not watching that. You know,
it sounds a bit like I Am Legend.
Yeah, I was gonna say I refuse to watch that film.
Shame. I know, it's very hard. But something else I'd like to ask you.
The dog doesn't die in this, by the way.
Yes. So I'm quite curious to ask you, would you want to have a toy line for this movie? Would you like something like that?
Yeah, I'm a realist though, and that's never going to happen. But I think it would be cool. I would love it. If it was like, because this obviously is a more adult film. If it was more what a toy line for adults would be, like NECA, I would lap
Yes.
that up straight away. I don't care if the Allosaurus's wrists are wrong. I'd buy that. I don't care if it's feathered. I'd buy that. I wouldn't buy the woolly sauropod, but yeah, I would buy the Coelophysis looking thing if it's done in the same style as that G.I. Joe Hasbro Deinonychus.
Oh yes.
I would get that. If it was done like the Primeval toys and the Doctor Who toys, I would buy that in I would it would be in my hands at home before I realized I bought it.
Do you think Marco Makes would ever make a End of Oak Street Allosaurus figure one day?
I don't think so. If I was to make my own if I was to make an Allosaurus figure, it would be my own design now, I think.
Okay. So, Marco, it was so cool talking about this movie with you. It was awesome, and I still really want you to see Primeval.
I will.
Gotta see that.
I will.
Yes,
I'll definitely do that as
gotta
soon as
see it.
possible. Yeah, it's been great. I love talking about stuff. I talked with Ethan about Rebirth, and I talked with you about this, and I definitely want to do that again. We do the same thing about Primeval.
Yes, we've got to do it again sometime.
And maybe
for
about
sure.
another dinosaur documentary media thing, eh?
Yeah, maybe. I
We'll
have got
see.
something in mind that could be really nice.
Yeah, I might
We'll
have
see.
something in my mind too. What a coincidence. Anyway,
Yeah.
thanks so much, Max. Always a great pleasure talking with you. And thank you
And
guys.
you too.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching. Let us know in the comment section down below what you thought about this film. If you agree or disagree about our points, always keep it civil, obviously, but I'm really, really interested to see what you guys think, because we, as a community, have a bit of a potentially different take from the average, viewer of this film. So yeah, let us know in the comment section down below. And thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
I would like to give a massive thank you to all of my Patreons. Seriously guys, your support really does mean the world to me, as it helps me do what I love for you. You help me buy materials, and most of all, you give me a helping hand with improving the quality of the content of my videos. Even if it's just a small donation, every little helps.